Hey, aloha, y'all. Daniel Aaron here. I'm the host of the Art of Vibrant Living show, and we are going low tech. Can I say that? That's crazy. This is low tech in this day and age. We're going low tech because we had some challenges with our fancy broadcasting software. The important thing, though, is that you get a chance to meet Deepak, that we get a chance to share with you what he's got to share. So, um, Deepak is a phenomenal story, phenomenal dude. In fact, so phenomenal, I'm actually going to read his official bio to you so that you get the perspective first. And what he does is he helps people to optimize mental, physical, and financial performance. They're related, by the way. And having spent many stressful years in the corporate world and overcoming an autoimmune condition and a back injury, he brings a unique perspective to working with his clients. When this father of two is not spending time with his wife and daughters, he is researching and staying at the forefront of emerging and cutting edge health research. Deepak is a speaker, a podcast host, a published writer, and actively working on becoming a Centenarian. So, Deepak, thank you for joining.
Thank you. I appreciate being on the show, Daniel. It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate your perseverance with our tech issues. But again, perseverance is part of the deal, and I know it's been part of your deal. So let's jump right in with will you give us some more of the skinny, so to speak, on how you got to be who you are and doing the work that you're doing?
Absolutely. I love that you said the skinny and the perseverance, because for many people when they have any sort of health challenge, I'll tell you my story in a second. It really is perseverance. We're talking about like tech issues, and this is like the fourth take. We're trying to get this done. But really, many people can relate to my story. It's like decades of having to persevere to finally find out what works. So I'll just preface that before I sort of share my story. So I was, I think we share this, Daniel. Like I was always the chubby kid. I was always the fat kid, classified as morbidly obese at 18 years old, 100 pounds heavier than I am now. Not only that, I was chronically sick as a kid, chronic ear infections, bronchitis, you name it. They didn't really know that's what they called it back then. And that continued on as an adult. The last thing they thought I might have was leukemia. And then they said, no, you don't have leukemia, which is, oh, of course, I'm glad I don't have leukemia. But there was a small little part of me that kind of wish I had some diagnosis, because I'm like, at least if I knew what was bothering me, we could tackle it. It was unknown. I was just getting chronically sick like 4 times a year for 4 to 6 weeks at a time. It was insane. But as you mentioned in my bio, it really came to head in 2014. My youngest daughter was a baby. I hurt my back so bad, I couldn't bend over at the waist. I had no flexion. I couldn't pick up my 10-pound daughter out of her crib. That was really my low point. So I couldn't golf anymore. I wasn't able to run. I couldn't pick up my daughter. I couldn't play with my older daughter. I was really in a low point. I didn't recognize it myself in the time, but I probably was in depression. But it was that desire, that drive to be able to just play with my kids again. That's all I really wanted to do, is be able to play with my kids again. That led me to try and heal my back. And I like to say the Western medical system did me no favors, wasted 18 months of my health. Ultimately, I went to go find alternative modalities, and I found PRP, platelet-rich plasma treatment, for my back. And that wasn't easy. That was a long process. But in conjunction with that, I also decided to make other lifestyle changes, including nutrition and just generally bringing inflammation down in my body. And lo and behold, not only did the PRP start to work better and faster, the last 60 of the 100 pounds I've lost melted away in just a matter of months. And my chronic illness was never diagnosed properly, just basically went into remission. I essentially haven't been sick in 9 years. And this is all through COVID and everything like that as well. So people never see our internal struggles. Obviously, it's very difficult. They only see the outside. So people only saw the weight loss. I was losing weight so fast, my bags, my clothes were baggy, etc. And some people even thought I had cancer because I keep my hair pretty short. They thought, and I lost so much weight so quickly. But coworkers, colleagues, business associates started like pulling me aside, and it's like, hey, you look great. What are you doing? Can I take you out for lunch? Can I buy you coffee? So I started informally kind of coaching and mentoring people, like, like, oh, this is what I learned. This is what my research found. I read this book, try this, read this listen to this podcast, etc. And then after a while of, well over a year of this, I was like, there's something here. Like, I actually really enjoy doing this.
Hmm.
So I kind of thought about it, and make a long story short, I got some early certifications and started a health coaching people, what we now, nobody used to call it back then, but now we call a side hustle. So I'm a CPA by first profession, corporate Canada, doing accounting and finance. So I started just coaching people on the sides, even in the weekends. And then after about a year or so after that, I was like, I just really like this. I'm just doing this. And I was, I was tired with, what I was doing 20 years, doing essentially the same job. So I just, I'm doing this full time. So since 2018, I've been full-time coaching. And, it started with people who were like me, weight loss, back pain. But as I evolved myself, what I want for myself, once I broadened my mindset and went from really a scarcity mindset to a growth mindset, what is possible for me? Why can't I be a centenarian? Why can't I live to 100 plus? And as I move that direction for myself personally, people have been drawn to me for that as well, to like, what is beyond, what's more for them? And that's evolved over time. And then, I certainly work with people in a lot of different ways, but high level, that's kind of my story, what brought me here with you today, Daniel.
That's so cool. I love it. And I really feel and appreciate what that must have been like. Like, you can't pick up your infant daughter. I mean, and it's beautiful that that's part of what drove you. And so there's like 40 questions that came to me from everything you said. Lifestyle, lifestyle choices. I'm just going to take that because that's a juicy one. There's some important things there. I'm going to put it over here for a minute. First, so what was the relationship between, from your perspective now, or just intuitively, between your overweightness and being sick all the time as a kid?
Yeah, I think there's a high correlation there. So obviously being overweight, like anyone who is or knows somebody who is, like there's a lot of pain that comes with that, joint pain. You're putting a lot of stress on your body, your back, etc. But really the weight is really a symptom of more underlying issues, right? So there's inflammation that plays a role. There's poor eating habits. Again, scarcity mindset. How many people have grew up like, you better finish everything on your plate? That type of stuff. You go to the buffet or the smorgasbord or whatever you wanna call it, and like, hey, we're spending $12 here. We better get our money's worth on a Sunday brunch or whatever type of thing, right? So you have these type of habits or notions instilled in us as young children, right into our unconscious mind. These things carry on with us, and then let's be frank, poor advice given out in the mainstream media, even doctors, and that translates to our parents or our caregivers, which is really not the right advice, really, and it just compounds. And I'm relatively competitive person, so that can show up in like, how many shrimp can you eat, how many wings can you eat, et cetera, right? So just all these bad habit type of things. And so yeah, definitely, I think weight is a symptom of more underlying issues, and I certainly had a lot of those, and to some degree I still do, but I'm always working on myself personally as well.
Beautiful. I'm with you. And I think on some level, just the extra work it must be, right, for us when we're overweight. And yeah, I was a fat kid too. I didn't quite reach the morbid level, although it was enough that it really messed up my life in so many ways. I remember one time my mother taking me to a podiatrist because I had all this foot pain, and diagnosed the foot pain and prescribed these specific, orthotic devices that I would wear in my shoes. And then, I don't know, the third, fourth, fifth visit, we ended up going there, still have the pain. And the doctor kind of finally looked at me and my mother at one point. He's like, your feet are hurting because you've got extra weight on you. He didn't say it quite that bluntly, but that's how I heard it at the time. And it kind of, I was like, yeah, you know what? My feet weren't designed to carry two people all the time. Um, so
Can I let me can I
yeah,
riff on that, Daniel? Because I had a
yeah.
similar story. So this is more like high school. I was playing football. Started playing football in middle school, junior high, and into high school, and even beyond high school. And I always have knee pain. I have to manage it, wear a knee brace, et cetera. Like that. I went down the road of like, yeah, trying to get orthotics for the knee pain and everything like that. And at the time, this is 30 years ago, it was pretty expensive, right? We actually couldn't really afford it. And my parents were gonna pay for it, but I was like, well, look, I got football cleats, I got my regular running shoes. I'm like, we can't afford like 3 pairs, for every pair of shoes. So I end up not getting them. I was like, no, we don't need them, whatever, it's fine, save the money, type of thing. And then all this knee pain, and I went to the knee doctor, and like, oh, you got this meniscus damage, no tears, but just like whatever, all these things. And I didn't understand as a kid, right? I didn't know any of this stuff. Lo and behold, drop the weight, bring inflammation down systemically through my body. Oh, lo and behold, I don't have knee pain anymore. What happened to all this? Like, you got meniscus damage, blah, blah, like that's all went away. It just all went away. No, I'm not saying I don't have anything. I haven't been properly scoped or anything like that, but like just bringing inflammation down, having the normal weight, a lot of things just disappeared.
Yeah, amazing. It's it is amazing how much the body can actually heal and function well when we give it the right scenario, the right conditions. So part of why I keyed in on your words about changing lifestyle, making different lifestyle choices, I think you said, is I was having a conversation a couple days ago with a friend of mine, somebody I know from who's not into coaching, personal development, not into spiritual development, kind of like an ordinary guy. And I know him from another place. And I've seen him, and great guy, amazing guy. And over the last several months, I've seen him sick kind of over and over again. And I hosted a gathering last week, and we're talking for a minute, and I'm like, yeah, how you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm still dealing with it. And there was so much going on, I didn't really pause, and I just said, well, you could just command your health, right? Like when you go to bed tonight, command your health, tell your subconscious that your immune system has this and you are going to be well. And he's like, what? Huh? What? And then he called me like a day later. He's like, could you say more about that? And I realized like, wow, right. I've been so long in the realm of kind of radical health stuff, which you've moved into as well, that I forget what it's like for normal people, or yeah, really, I guess normal and the most people in the world. And so much of that is lifestyle. So what were the lifestyle choices that you made that are different, or what do you advise? What does that look like? What's possible for people?
Sure, absolutely. So what started with was simply primarily nutrition. So just really, and I'm going to use air quotes here. Once I figured out that inflammation, just bringing systemic inflammation down would help the PRP for my back respond better, and that the primary cause of inflammation that I was causing to myself was through what I was eating. I essentially went and here cold turkey, clean. I started eating clean, like literally that day, and that's evolved because I've learned more about myself. But it was primarily through nutrition. So that was the big lifestyle thing. We all know we need to sleep more. And whenever I was in the corporate world, I know like I perform better and I have more energy at 3 in the afternoon if I actually have a good night's sleep. So I was like, but I actually need to make a priority on this. Plus, I'm in pain all the time. I'm lying around anyway. I might as well be sleeping, and not watching TV or Netflix or whatever, right? So primarily it was nutrition and sleeping to start with, but it goes beyond that, right? It's like getting fresh air, making sure you have enough water, clean air, getting outside, getting sunshine, supplementation. There's all sorts of things that I now practice myself on a daily or weekly basis. But really, it started with sleeping better and nutrition. And again, like that's evolved. What I did back then to lose that weight to what I do now is completely different because I have more data on myself. I ate things then that they've served their purpose, but they solved one problem but caused another problem. And then now that I've done testing, genetic testing, all sorts of metabolic testing, et cetera, I was like, oh, okay, that food actually doesn't serve me. So now I've changed what I eat now. So it looks different, but primarily those are the two things: sleeping better and proper nutrition.
Yeah, cool. Okay, that makes good sense. And it is it's a re-education, right? And I know for me it in the beginning when I started to see like, oh, all the things that I thought were normal and just the way it is, actually a lot of those things cause problems and difficulties. What really struck me though is it took some adjustment emotionally and just to see new possibilities. But in the end, it's like, well, I could drink this say like when I was a kid, I would drink Coca-Cola, right? I could drink this Coca-Cola, or I can drink this coconut water over here, right? And it's very much the same thing, right? I'm still drinking something. I'm still using one of my arms. So lifestyle choice. Okay, where where do you start with people when people come to you? Well, and let's look at it this way, because I know your work has gone beyond just the physical, right? And so what is the relationship? I really paid attention to this in your biography there, um, between the physical and making, say, progress in our physical well-being, or feeling better. What's the relationship between that and our mental health, emotional health, financial health? How does that affect other parts of life?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So at a high level, they're all interrelate with each other. To answer more specifically, I'll start with this. So for me, I remember how sucky life was when I couldn't pick up my daughter. I was in pain movement. It was hard getting in and out of a chair, including the toilet, et cetera, et cetera. Couldn't golf, couldn't run, all the things I loved doing. So for me, remembering that and never wanting to go back there is like a big why for me, or purpose. I never want to go back to how I felt then. And for some people, and this is the way I used to coach early on, was like, what is your why? What is your purpose for whatever change you want to make, weight loss, whatever? And that's still great. And I'm very, very good. And for many, many years, I would coach people on the tactics and the strategies to reach their goal, their health goal. And mental health was part of that, for sure, to the extent that I could help them with that. More recently, I've added more tools to my toolkit to really focus on what I call the inner game. We've brought up, or each of us have brought up, I think one time already, our unconscious mind. And it's so much more powerful. So tactics and strategies are great, but now now that I have the tools, I layer in what I call the inner game and work on the unconscious mind, that mindset piece, the mental health piece. Get over your limiting beliefs, get over traumas. And let's be honest, whether it's a big T or a little t, we all have trauma. Or are we over 10 years old? We all have a trauma of some sort. And just how does it affect us? And working that first, and then with the tactics. So again, so the mindset and motivation piece, what I call that, and then inner game, it's kind of all wrapped into one. And then the tactics for every other aspect of our life, the weight loss, the sleep, whatever, working in conjunction to make the healthier version of you. And you can't help but be better in everything you do. And that transcends into our business world, whether we're an employee or a business owner, entrepreneur. I have yet to work with an entrepreneur who doesn't get like the mental and the physical in check, that doesn't perform better at work. That could mean I have more energy. I can do more. I think faster. I make decisions faster. Or even as simple as like, I'm not a jerk boss at 3 o'clock anymore because I didn't sleep, or I'm in pain, I have inflammation. Now I have better relationships with my employees and my business partners, etc. That translates to your family. I have better relationships with my kids and my wife and whatever. So they go hand in hand. So people ask me this all the time. It's like, well, how do you work on your financial performance? So do you show them how to pick stocks? And like, that doesn't make sense. Like, no, I don't do any of that stuff. I do have an interest in that, but that's not what I teach. It's like, when you get this in check, it affects your personal, your business life, and your financial performance can't help but improve. I haven't had a client yet whose financial performance has performed, but focusing on you, both the mental and the physical.
Yeah, I'm with you. Well, it's like the old saying that all boats rise at high tide, right? And the way I think of it and the way I work with people is there are lots of different areas of life, whether it's relationships or our emotions or our purpose, our work, our mission, our money, our spirituality. Like, but those are all like layers of a pyramid, and the bottom of the pyramid is our physical vitality. And as you were speaking, what I reflected on is when I was a fat kid, it it just sapped my confidence all the time. You know, Other kids made fun of me. I felt bad about myself. I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror, right? And so that was like it was always present for me. So, is there a relationship you think between improving one's physical health, vitality, and confidence? Is that across the board true?
I think so. And, some people, they've made transformation. I'll use myself as an example. It's many people across, and people can relate to this. I made the physical transformation because of that deep why of running away from a pain.
Mm,
I never want to go back there, as I mentioned earlier. And many people can achieve that, but there's still just something that's not quite optimal.
mm,
There's just this feeling. I have the body I want, I've always wanted, or at least it's improved, but there's just still something. I'm still not grasping what I want out of life. Something's still eluding me. And again, that goes back to, I call the inner game type of
mm,
things at the unconscious level where maybe we're still carrying from a trauma, or and I don't use that word lightly. Maybe it's the teasing that, I got picked on. I was bullied for being overweight, having an ethnic name, et cetera, having ethnic parents, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? The bullying, the whatever, all this and all these things, they can still carry force, even though we physically look like it, or perform, or financially, we have the great job, we worked hard, everything, but we're just not quite right. And it's like, that's the stuff you need to clear up. And many people
mm.
still need this clearing into, their 30s, 40s and beyond type of thing. And doing that work can just really just clear out a lot of old stuff and let you be how you truly want to be, how you truly want to present yourself to the world. As many people, and hey, I'm a huge, you as well, Daniel, right? Huge proponent of like personal development and stuff. I'm doing this stuff all my time because I know I can be more optimized. There's certain aspects of my life that I still want to optimize myself, and I just know I need to work on them. And so even the physical aspect, hey, I still have physical goals too that I want to achieve, even though I lost all this weight and I look great and all this stuff. So there's always room for improvement, I think. But like working on ourselves, on our personal development, including that deep work, I'll call it, or that inner game work,
Mm.
goes a long way. And I think that's something that some people, they've achieved the physical or the financial, and that's still the missing piece for them.
Mm, mm. So how do you do that? Like, I mean, how do you do it yourself? What are you into with that? What do you, help other people with? What do you suggest?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of modalities. I'm not poo-pooing any one of them. They all work in their own way, but they're not always right for the right person at the right time.
Mm,
So I'm a proponent and certified in timeline therapy,
mm,
neuro-linguistic programming, and hypnosis. So we typically go timeline therapy first, NLP next, and then hypnosis to clear people of their limiting beliefs, traumas, negative emotions, et cetera. And then again, we can, using hypnosis, we can essentially help the client plant habit changes. So I'll share one example for myself that might be helpful for the client. So, I'm all about healthy eating. Am I 100% perfect? Of course not. Nobody is. But like, I'm someone who can go to town on peanut butter. Okay, so like crunchy peanut butter is a vice of mine. So I cut my apples, I cut my celery slices. I got a nice bowl of celery, and I'm like, I almost got as much peanut butter on top as I have, like, right. And I'll eat it, and whenever I'm on a call or whatever type of thing, training or something like that. And I've had so much peanut butter, and peanut butter is actually like is a kryptonite for me. I love the taste, right? And that smell, the whole deal. Many people can relate, or whatever it is for you, but it's a kryptonite food for me. I'd feel so sick afterwards of eating so much peanut butter and whatever, and like it would bother me for hours and hours. So I just asked one of my colleagues, and I did the same for them. We did kind of a swap, and we basically implanted in my unconscious mind. I substituted the thought of eating peanut butter with something I would never want to eat, and I'll just share. It's like if my dog has runny diarrhea poop, it kind of looks like peanut butter. So I made that association in my unconscious mind. I have not touched peanut butter in like 6 months. It's not that it makes me gag or anything. I just have no desire to even reach for it.
mm,
And these are the type of things we can do to make habit changes for people, specifically who want weight loss or have that one vice food or drink or whatever. And we can just like break it. You won't even feel like you want to have it anymore. And that could be a tool for weight loss. And it's not the only one, but it could be. And so that's one personal example I like to share.
That's great. I love it. I love it. And I love it on the level that too, I'm in the midst of a fast right now. So as you're describing your peanut butter and celery and apples, I was like, well, I think I'm gonna have some peanut butter for lunch later. Oh wait, no, I'm fasting. Um, and part of what I get from what you're saying is something that I find so enthralling, which is, and I hope this is useful for the viewers to see, if you don't know it, if you haven't had the experience, that we actually can engineer, architect, and mold who we are. right? Whether it's timeline therapy or hypnosis or whatever the tool or technique that works for any of us, we actually have the power to create ourselves into who we want, right? And that was for me the biggest revelation that came for me with losing weight in my late teen years. Was like, wow, something I thought couldn't change can change, right?
Yeah,
So,
and Daniel, if I could just piggyback on that,
yeah,
again, you like you said, we are in charge of our own reality.
yeah,
And I hope it's okay. I have a workshop and a series of
yeah, yeah,
workshops coming up. It's literally the workshop's called Change Your Reality. Again, it's talking about it. It's a fun interactive workshop and everything like that. But essentially, it's talking about these tools I just mentioned and how you can use them, or working with a practitioner to use them to change your reality, whether that be like, overcoming procrastination, getting the confidence to start or grow your business, to pick up the phone call and make sales calls, to lose the weight, as I described, or whatever it might be, get over some trauma that's been holding you back, like whatever. So again, you can literally change your reality by working at, the unconscious level.
yeah. And that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up, and I highly recommend people go to the workshop. Well, we'll put in the comments, I'll put the information for how to get to it. And it's like one of my favorite questions for myself, and I ask every client when I start working with them, is like, what have you been settling for? Right? What have you been tolerating in your life? And part of what you just spoke of reminds me is like, we don't have to, right? This is something so often we've grown up with. I know I've grown up with, is this idea that's just the way it is. That's, you don't hope too much, right? That's just, gonna have to get used to it. Like, and I say, no, man, we can create whatever we want. So I love that you are having a workshop on creating your own reality. Today is Thursday. It's on Saturday, September 21st. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
At what time?
I'm in the mountain time zone, so it'd be 9 Pacific, 10 Mountain, noon Eastern.
All right, good translations for us. Thank you. Awesome. Well, I know time's flying and we're going to need to wrap it up soon. Is there anything I haven't asked you about or anything else that you'd like to share?
Well, just to your last point you made there, Dan, if I could just riff on that for a moment. Even as an adult, I was in the workforce, I was in corporate, I was managing large teams, etc. But I had this mindset of like, and mind you, I was in inflammation, I was inflamed, I was in pain, all this low level pain. This is even before I hurt my back, right? It's like you're just trying to make it to the end of the day. How many people can relate to that, right? Raise your hand if you're watching this on the replay or whatever. Or like, just wait to the weekend, I can relax or have some fun. Or like, oh, if I just get that next vacation, I can really have some downtime. Or that next promotion, the next, whatever, right? That was me. I had this mindset. And then I, essentially lost my health and fought really hard for essentially 2 years plus to get my health back. And once I had it back, and then, yes, I educated myself and but my mindset opened. It was like, and also like, you know, I just thought like everyone, what's the average age? Like 84, 78, wherever, depending on, I was like, yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Now the tools and the knowledge I had and feeling so much better and losing the weight and not having the pain, I was like, why can't I be a centenarian? I don't know what that means. I don't know anyone who's ever been a centenarian, but why can't it be me? And that's a mindset shift. So, and that's translated since that time go forward. Why can't I run, a half marathon? Why can't I? I'm not a runner anymore, but I did it just for doing it. Why can't I start my own business? Why can't I grow my business? Like I don't want to spend money on hiring a coach. Like, no, get in a growth mindset. Hire a coach. Oh, that was the best thing I ever did. Hiring a business coach to take my business. There's a multitude of ways that's manifested for myself and probably for other people as well can relate, or to the audience who might still be stuck in that scarcity mindset. Like, what is holding you back? What do you need? What's that little switch you need to take to that growth mindset? Because then your life, trust me, will completely open up and change. So I just wanted to pull on that string for a moment.
That's great. I'm so happy you said that. Hallelujah. Anything is possible, and investing in ourself and investing in possibility is optimism, right? It's or wisdom, I would say. So you got the workshop on Saturday, and if people are tuning in and seeing this after Saturday or can't make it for whatever crazy reason, got to rearrange your schedule so you can be there. how else can people get a hold of you, Deepak?
Yeah, I have a gift I would like to give to all your audiences.
Oh,
So
please.
it's my guide, it's a 7-step guide to healthy habits, and there's a little blurb and these 7 things you can try and do. Please don't try all 7 at once. That's not a recipe for success. Try 1, maybe 2, and then at the end of the guide, there's like a tracking, so you can track this 1 or 2 things for 30 days, and either resonates with you and you've created a new habit, healthy habit, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Go back and try something else. And over, the period of some months, try all 7 for 30 days if it works for you. And hopefully you'll make, if you're not already doing them, 7 new healthy habits at the end of a number of months. So I'd love to give that guide to all your audience. I will have the link there. It's very simple, deepaksainihealth.com/freebie. But I'm sure we'll have it in the show notes and all that type of thing. So I'd love to get out to everyone. Then you become part of my ecosystem. If you can't make this Saturday's workshop, you'll certainly see the next time I decide to run it.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, Deepak, thank you, one, for persevering through our tech challenges, and 2, thanks for, caring enough about your relationship with your daughter that sparked you into saying, hey, I want to change. I want to overcome, right? To me, that's the quintessence of the art of vibrant living. It's saying, I'm going for it, right? And you persevered and you created not only a great life and body and situation for yourself, you're helping lots and lots of people to do the same. And that's a beautiful thing. So thank you.
You're welcome. I know we have maybe just a minute or so left, Daniel. This is really top of mind right now. If I share,
Please.
obviously, whether it's the father-son, father-daughter, mother-son, mother-daughter, really, they're all special relationships in their own way. Just what you just remind me of about really wanting to be there I have 2 girls, as you mentioned, really be there for my children, especially since they were so young, a baby and 3 at the time. I don't take that for granted. I'm starting to get a little teary-eyed just talking about it right now. It's top of mind because someone shared with me inspirational video just earlier today. I don't remember who it was from, but it really got me because it was a grown an adult daughter talking about their dad and all the lessons and everything, and it really got me. I'm getting choked up right now. When I look back, it's like, where would I be with a relationship with and hey, is it perfect? No, we fight all the time. But where would I be in my relationship with my 2 daughters if I didn't make that commitment to myself to be able to pick them up and be able to play with them while I still could? Right. My daughters are, 10 and 13. And yeah, I technically can still pick them up, but I can't throw them around and toss them up in the air anymore. Like they're too big for that. Right. But where would I be if I didn't make that commitment to myself to just for that one thing, let alone everything, all the benefits that happened to me, the weight loss, the chronic sickness gone, all wonderful. I wouldn't give them up for the world, but really it was just that was my one purpose. I just want to be able to pick up my 10-pound daughter. So whatever that is for you, whatever metaphorically is that for anyone listening, picking up your own kids, dancing at your daughter's wedding, whatever it is, finding the love of your life, just whatever that is for you, just lean into it and go after your dreams.
Well said. I think those are our perfect final inspirational words. Anything is possible and y'all can do it. So thank you so much, Deepak.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Talk soon. Aloha.